Yo, what's up guys? For today's video, I'm going to go over a strategy that's really helped me, especially with gap ups, but I really like to use it when playing SPY as well. I'm going to go over a couple examples, and this strategy is the opening range breakout strategy, or the ORB strategy. So first thing I'm going to do is use the 15-minute chart here. What I'm going to do is look at that first candle, right? So for here, that I'm using SPY in this example, the high at 431.83 will be my call trigger. On the downside, I'm going to use the low of that same 15-minute candle at 428.58 as my put trigger. Cool. So what this does is it's using the opening range as our put and call trigger. This is really helpful on those bigger gap days, and the key here is waiting on a patient entry spot. In this case, I'm going to use the 5-minute to execute, and I'm going to wait for either a close above or below either a call or put trigger. You know, same execution style as it would be with normal levels. We're just using those levels off of the 15-minute chart to enter. In this case, very good entry here on SPY. Close below that 428.58 level, retest it, and then fall back down. So very good entry would be, you can enter here, of course. Might get a little bit of shakeout as it did close significantly below the level, so I'd wait on a retest. Wait on that retest almost perfectly. Long upper wick, enter into puts here, and we see, just ride the trend down throughout the day. When it comes to levels and stuff like that, after we have assessed the opening range, we can do the same thing with the 15, go back, chart out some levels, very important levels. But notice how well, especially SPY today, SPY did not gap up or down. So I like to use this a lot with the indices, but notice how well these levels are respected. Very cool to see. And the key, as I mentioned, was we need to wait on the close above or below. If the close is, in this case, it closes at 427.81, about 75% below that put trigger, wait on the retest, and then enter on that retest. My favorite ways to enter into a play like this and how to use it would be on a gap up. XOM did gap up, and so I'm going to use that same strategy, same 15-minute orb candle, and Exxon paid nice off this, 30% gains pretty fast. So what I'm going to do, find that 930 open candle, use the high and the low. High at 85.34, and the low was 83.91. Cool, now I got my call and my put triggers. Perfect. Now flip over to the 5-minute, and we're ready to execute. Look how well this is respected throughout the day, right? Notice, very good entry spot would be a close above that level, get a nice little retest on the next candle, and we explode up. Absolutely love this method, especially on those gap ups as I talked about. But notice how it's respected so well throughout the day. We do close below this level at one point, we reclaim, and then we get another push into the end of the day, into power hour, off of that 85.34 level, which would be the high of our orb. Perfect. This works for any ticker, right? I've never traded Tesla in my life, so I'm going to use this as an example. 15-minute chart, repeat the same things. Go to this, find this 930 candle. So as we see here, Tesla gaps up. Let's see the high 839. Gaps up about $30. Cool. So I'm just going to do the same thing. Low 853.32. Put this up here, 853.32. Use that as my put trigger. And for the call trigger, we're going to use the high at 866.14. Why this strategy works is simply we're just using momentum, right? And I like it, as I stated multiple times before, a lot for the gap ups, gap downs, when our levels have been washed away. I'm a big fan of levels trading. So that's one thing I like a lot. And this just helps me create levels that maybe, we haven't seen these levels in a while. Maybe we gap up way over our call trigger. Maybe we gap down way below our put trigger. This gives us some levels to work with in a better sense of, risk to reward and where to enter into trades. The key again is going to be trading on that 5 minute, wait on a close above or below the level. In this case, we see this level is respected pretty well. A lot of chop to start. Once we get that close below that 853.32 level, very nice entry spot here. Don't get a perfect retest level, but a nice flush throughout the day. This could pay a lot. This method really works well on trend days when one side is in control. For example, today's market, we had the bear side in control, pushes down. Let's go back to yesterday. Clear these levels away. Go to the 15. All right, let's use yesterday. We did have a gap down, and I'm going to use this first 15-minute candle here. High at 432.48. That'll work. And the low at the low is 430.66. Cool. So same thing. Going to go to this 5 minute, and we're just going to use it. So as you can see, it's a little bit harder on these days that we're stuck more range bound where there's more chop, but we can still trade off of this level. As we see here, let me scroll over a little bit. These levels are respected very well intraday. We have a nice spot to enter into puts. This previous support used as resistance here can hold a little bit longer. And then once we reclaim that level, get a nice push, close above, but we don't get much action up here. So being able to use these on the gap down, on the gap ups, very helpful. They've helped me a ton the last couple of days, especially with all the gaps we see in the market of recent, where news is changing every day. You never really know what to expect. I love this strategy, using that 15-minute ORB candle or the opening range breakout, wait for a 5-minute close above or below our levels, and just, execute as if it were normal levels we decided the night before. Awesome strategy.